Spring is coming and I want to know how I can garden with less maintenance. I checked out 2 books, Late Bloomer and Vertical Gardening. We're going to start with Late Bloomer, How to Garden with Comfort, Ease, and Simplicity in the Second Half of Life by Jan Coppola Bills. The book begins explaining that when Jan was younger, she was focused on achievement, perfectionism, and controlling her environment. But in the second half of life, she's more relaxed. She wants to please herself and work with nature. Her focus is to keep gardening simple, organic, and connected with nature. She encourages us to start a small garden in the beginning. Focus on what you can grow for yourself or to give away. If you make the garden too big in the beginning, you're going to get overwhelmed and frustrated. It's also important to know when to ask for help. Sometimes we think we have to do everything ourselves, and we don't. It's okay to ask for help. Her low-maintenance ideas include planting in the right location, planting a bed heavily to reduce weeds, and to not use chemicals. Some people will question and say, yes, but I would use organic chemicals. However, she knows that organic chemicals are harmful to those sensitive wildlife such as monarch butterflies. So she opts to not use chemicals. Jan believes that we have been chosen to take care of the earth and the wildlife, and that it's important for us to provide habitat, drinking water, and shelter. That means in the fall, you can leave the leaves on the ground. They will provide food and shelter for the bugs, nutrients for the soil, protect the roots, and suppress weeds. And rather than tilling, she flips the sod and tops it with mulch and makes raised beds. Jan has her own landscaping business, and she shares a lot of ideas and lovely pictures in Late Bloomer. Vertical Gardening, Grow Up, Not Out, for more vegetables and flowers in much less space by Derek Fell. This book is an excellent reference book. It is loaded with information. It's about this thick. Ever since he was a child, Derek Fell has been growing gardens in small spaces. He grew up in England and he worked for Hearst Seeds, and then he moved to America and worked for Burpee Seeds in Pennsylvania, and then for the National Garden Bureau. He continues to garden on 20 acres down in Pennsylvania, testing seeds and different gardening techniques, and he also has a property on Sanibel Island in Florida, which gives him a different zone to focus on. His chapters begin focusing on soil preparation. He explains how to compost with a hot compost or cold compost, how to start seeds, how to build different types of trellises and arches and containers. He talks about pest and disease control and shares homemade insect repellent recipes. He goes into discussion about fertilizers, weeding, pruning, different vegetables, different fruits, ornamental plants, and how to design a garden. He also explains which plants are best as climbers and which are good in foundation gardens, as well as those that grow well in containers. Gardening vertically is great in smaller spaces. It is easier to maintain and easier to harvest. The vegetables are up off the ground and get more ventilation, so they don't have to deal with as many pests and diseases. They also tend to have higher yields. Vining plants will often produce throughout the season, where dwarf varieties will stop producing after 3 weeks. Keeping the healthy soil microbes intact, Derek focuses on no-dig, no-till methods. So he prefers to layer the cardboard, the compost, and the mulch. Cardboard, compost, and mulch to make his raised beds. He also opts not to use chemicals. There are 3 institutions around the world, the Rodale Institute in Pennsylvania, Lincoln University in Australia, and the Gardeners Association in the UK, they have all shown that garden plots using natural compost have less problems with pests and disease as garden plots that use chemical fertilizers. Before you start digging in the garden this year, make sure you check out late bloomer and vertical gardening. Thanks for watching, keep reading, and have a great week.